Hi and welcome to Maja's Meditations. I'm Maja Larson, but you can call me Mai. Welcome to the intuitions behind the art. So for November, I chose the book I have, the original copy of, from 1907's Ozma of Oz. L. Frank Baum, illustrated by John R. Neal. The actual title of the book actually is Ozma of Oz, a record of her adventures with Dorothy Gale of Kansas, the Yellow Hen, the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodman, Tick-Tock, the Cowardly Lion, and the Hungry Tiger. Besides other good people too numerous to mention, faithfully recorded herein. That is the title. What I originally love about this book as well is that it was written because the readers wanted it, not because it was thought out or planned or a part of a series or a part of a longer storyline. It was born because of an appreciation for the story, and to me that has a huge magical appeal to it. I think also the attraction to Ozma and Dorothy in the story was that they're sheroes, or female heroes. Another part of the attraction is the story and the fact that my mom loved it, and generations of women have enjoyed the story of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. And because my mom loved it, it's been a part of my subconscious, my storyline for most of my life. In grade 12, I did a art project, and I chose for my sculpture that I had to make out of clay the Princess Langwidere from the story. That would be the headless princess that Dorothy is captured by in the book. I did it, I think, to avoid having the complication of creating a real face, but creating draping fabric is actually probably harder than creating a face, so karma got me there. Anyway, so I love the fact that the theme was a long-standing one in my life, not just, something I've recently been interested in. So as these posts are more about the intuitions behind the art, not necessarily the technicalities of the art, I want to share with you the sort of triangle that's created between Ozma, Dorothy, and the Princess Langwidere, the headless princess in the story. As I painted and explored and, did the different things that I did for the 30 days I was giving myself to decide if this would be a Patreon release project or just, a different direction entirely from my artistic vision, I noticed that I could relate to each of the women in the story, and they all sort of had something to offer me in the realm of self-exploration, which is what this art and Maja's meditation is about. So Mombi, or Princess Langwidere, that's the princess that had the 30 heads in the story, is such an amazing character. I think I'll probably go into more depth of the Oz characters over the next year or so. In any case, I'm just so much inspired after reading this. But anyway, she gets a bad rap in the story, and understandably so. She's kind of a psycho. Constantly replacing her heads, and these heads that she's taken are people who have turned to stone, or where are they anyway, right? So pretty crazy. She was the niece of the King of Eve, so this isn't in Oz specifically where Dorothy ends up. It's across the desert from it, but anyway, okay, so the royal family of Eve is no longer in power there. The King of Eve committed suicide after the Gnome King, who seems to be like the over-evil character in the entire story, responsible for everybody's misery, had captured the rest of the royal family and turned them into trinkets in his Gnome Kingdom. So she replaced the royal family and kind of went ape bananas, and now she's got 30 heads she wears, right? So Ozma is now Queen of Oz across the desert, and in the story she sort of rolls up on her magic carpet with her army behind her, and the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion are with her, and Dorothy's super excited to see her and interact with her. And that's a huge thing in 1907. Here's a female character at the front of an army coming across a desert on a magical carpet, completely self-possessed, completely self-directed, self-assured, confident. How could that not be attracting? So Ozma rolls up, settles everything down, gets Langwidere, settled out of power. She doesn't need to be doing this anymore. And then has Dorothy and her crew join her to do battle with the Gnome King and release the rest of the royal family so that they can take over rulership back home. So this book is just full of symbols for Journey of the Self, but trying to keep it contained here. My instincts have been pushing me towards more nutritional, plant-based diets since spring. drawing me back to paying more attention to my body, which is not something I've ever been comfortable doing. I've always shied away from it. And I mean, I'm 42, so this seems like it's probably time to get over that problem. So the connection with the grade 12 statue with the headless woman, and then I kept seeing it's Halloween here, headless women everywhere. So I was like, what is the deeper meaning behind what I'm seeing everywhere? And it was that I had lost my head. I had lost my sense of self, and it wasn't, 2018 that I had done it. It happened way back, when you were a younger person. So I had so much going on in my life at the time, growing up, that you just push it to the back, and no one else can solve your mysteries. We create these quests and, need for meanings in our lives, regardless of whether or not we're happy or the grass is greener. I think that's just part of the human condition. So my reasons for having chosen Ozma of Oz were not so arbitrary, I don't think. I think it was a subconscious push towards exploring some themes that would be helpful to my sense of self. You could also say maybe the story chose me. Ozma, I feel, represented my personal inner struggle with self-identity, and I had given myself 30 days to sort of define my artistic vision, because that can kind of be a little scattered. So I think that self-imposed pressure, obviously you're still going to rebel even though it's only yourself applying it. That creates that inner tension when you have to face those, fears, worries, self-judgments, whatever. The headless woman running the show in Eve was causing discontent and, countrywide disruption. So my disconnection from my body needed attention, and I needed the symbols and art to help me find a way to focus on that. I needed to give myself permission to pay attention to it, because, as a mom, it can be hard to carve the time out to take the time to pay attention to yourself. And if you do get it, it's not always supported by those who lose your attention when you have to refocus. So it's not an easy process necessarily, and it's one that you can easily talk yourself out of, or shame yourself out of, or guilt yourself out of. But the fact remains, you do have to check in with self, whether or not you're married or not, or have kids or not, or have people relying on you. If you don't check on yourself, no one's going to do it for you. So the women in Ozma represented sort of the faces part of the theme I had been going for, and my personal issues with artistic vision, femaleness, all of that. The Emerald City in this story, I think, represented my dreams, right? Mystery, magic, green, money, solves all your problems. You get to the Emerald City, everything is gold, everything is better. I mean, that's what the movie carried, and it's something that we all still harbor deep in our hearts. Is there's that Tirnanog or Treasure Island, or place of everything is easy, I'll be carried, and everything will be simple and cool. Yeah, such an illusion. And it's not that it's bad to get past that. I don't want to be carried. I want to stand on my own 2 feet, screw it up, and keep going, right? So the Emerald City came to represent the efforts, the Art for Life website I was felt inspired to create, the classes I feel drawn to offering, and people I hope to meet and learn from as well, because it's not just a one-way street when you teach art. It is all about the students and what they bring to the classroom. So what was funny too is I was painting the Emerald City, and sort of what was running through my head while I was working on it, and the future I hope to create and build, and to stop trying to avoid making mistakes. That's what builds. You have to make mistakes. I think we end up getting caught up in the notion of being perfect, getting it on the first shot. It's got to be perfect right out of the gate. No, that's never been my way. So just FYI, I get better with the process. So as I had, reflected over the painting when I was done, I realized I'd forgotten to include the yellow brick road, which was kind of a huge aha. So then I was reflecting on, as an artist, how was I going to include that in the painting? I mean, it still had to make sense. I didn't want to start over again. This was all sort of done with the Patreon launch in mind, so I had constraints. It couldn't just be, start over. So I sort of gave it some meditation. I mean, forget about the poppies. My yellow brick road was going to be walking on water. So the metallic paint sort of highlights that the road is visible when you're in the right angle, when you're, ready to see it. It's not just out there in the open, like any goal, like any law of attraction secret. the last 30 days have shown me, really how I feel about money, how I feel about earning, how I feel about my place in the household, and how I feel about, offering services, and then all the tangents that come with offering those services, facing your fears about putting yourself out there, and you can't be headless. You have to be connected. You can't just leave your head in one place and go about doing things in another and have yourself feel complete, which is, seems like a side tangent, but one of the other elements in the story of Ozma was TikTok, the Clockwork Man, and his story of the two geniuses who created him no longer exists, so he's a little stressed because if something goes wrong, there's nobody around in Oz anymore who can fix him. But they talk about the two geniuses, and one of the tinkers went to the moon to get stars and something to work with, and ended up liking it so much that he stayed, abandoning TikTok on Oz to care for himself. So there's that element of the story about following your dreams and leaving what you currently built to fend for itself. So, guilt for women, or my guilt about being a mom who still craves doing more than just motherhood. And then what followed on the heel of that aha, because I'm such a symbol junkie, was the movie The Adventures of the Baron Munchausen, who I love, and I love that movie, and Robin Williams' portrayal of the King of the Moon was amazing. I mean, Robin Williams was amazing anyway, but he was particularly awesome in that role, and it spoke to me and really helped me hammer home all this headless symbolism so I could get some sense of it to it and put it to bed, so to speak. Because in the story, he likes to leave his body to tend to the Queen of the Moon's more sensual nature, and his head and him fly off into space in search of more enlightening pursuits and power and intellectualism. And she's well aware of this, so when the Baron and his crew happen to need something from the Moon King and come across the people there, the Queen then abandons her body to the king so that she can betray her king by helping the Baron and his party escape. So there's just there's a whole bunch of symbolism there, gender inequality, etc., blah blah blah. But what kept me focused was the you have to be connected. You can't be in two places at once to achieve your dreams. You can't build a city if you're not in it. Which in turn forced me to examine my motives. Enlightenment versus power. What was my artistic vision? Is it art for life or art for money? And it's art for life. I would rather do art for nothing than art for money. I had also had a chance to follow some amazing artists on Patreon, just to sort of have an idea of what their lives are like. And what I hadn't really taken into account with all the excitement of the idea was how people will talk to you as an artist, and I need to identify with your art as theirs, and the exchange of money and how that creates. Anyway, I just felt some of the posts I had observed weren't exactly respectful to the artist, and if I was going to put myself out there, I was certainly not going to have to carry a sword and have to deal with that stuff on the side. There was also time management issues, and then the art for money, which was more the sole issue anyway. So having established and answered those questions for myself in that 30 days feels like a really good way to have spent my time. So yeah, I'm definitely going ahead, offering my creativity and art for folks who are interested, and facing my failure and keep on trucking. And it's not failure. I don't care if there's one person in me doing art to the next art class I offer. It's that I offer them, and that I get my life into the place where offering them does not cause a meltdown on the home front, or behavioral outbursts where it becomes, yeah, that's what she's doing, she's happy, and that will resonate in the household, I'm sure of it. Yeah, there's a journey and an adventure, and I want to take it and share it. I don't need to be all things to everyone, and I don't need to be amassing a collections of personas that will only serve to create more discord, dishonesty, and less authenticness and disconnection for me. Following my heart and dreams means doing that, not shaping my dreams to be palatable to everybody. If it's not for everybody, then tune out, move on. My soul speaks, my dream reflects its wisdom, and its echoes through art, and like a siren song calling your hidden self to the forefront. And if I've achieved that, then to me that's the success. I definitely want to extend my thanks to Frankie Craig, Celine Aswell, and Eva Carlson. Over the last 30 days, I was focused on learning through Frankie's spiritual development group on Facebook. You can check her out through www.ourpsychicart.com. Celine Aswell is also on Facebook and Instagram, as is Frankie, and Eva Carlson is also on all of that. In any case, they're amazing, empowering women sharing their spiritual journeys and techniques for nonviolent communication, more meaningful intercommunication, emotional literacy. So staying connected to that high energy empowerment through these women for those 30 days, I think really enabled me to dive off the deep end and into what I want to do for myself going forward, and to really appreciate my art from the direction that makes the most meaning to me. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you'll tune in again. I feel really inspired by all the characters of Oz, and as I got into them, found that there was just so much more to explore. So for now, this post seems very general, but I will be looking deeper into each character and how they resonate to me, how I feel they resonate at large for everyone to enjoy. I hope you'll enjoy the art that I created for this. It's available for download, or I also have digital wallpapers, moving picture art as well available. That'll be through the website. So definitely go check out www.artforlife.webs.com. Like and subscribe here on YouTube. Definitely leave me a comment or some feedback in the comments if you like. I can always use it, and have a wonderful day.